Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the CEO Strategy Gamer.
And joined again today by the voice of the antagonist, who's not so serious and has got no strategy.
So we're returning to Suzerain, which is a very interesting game, of course. Last time we did the introduction and we decided to go for a Western reformer type of governor. And I think this time around it's time to formulate the first decisions and actually have a look at the country here. What do you think?
Yes, and looking around is definitely what we're planning today, because that introduction last time was quite a long one.
It was a long one. And some of these decisions here are going to be quite long as well. But I do think they're very interesting because this is walking the tightrope in the political situation here. On the one hand, and on the other hand, as you just said, there's no autosave feature on any of these decisions. So, or basically, there's no save scumming, is what I'm trying to say. Decisions you take, you have to run with that. So in that sense, it's almost a roguelike.
Right. So let's see how long it takes until we hit a dead end.
True. Yeah, we might actually be dead at the end of this. But yeah, let's take a look at our country here briefly before we go into the first decision. So we've got a couple of areas here: law, economy, military, welfare, order, and diplomacy.
I think what's interesting is if you look on the right-hand side, the current situation, red is really bad, orange is sort of bad, and green is good. So while clicking through these topics on the top one, you see there's like mainly red at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do. The country is completely in shambles, and that is what the previous president has basically left us. So that's something that we need to work on. Specifically, the economy is pretty bad. Weak transportation links, unemployment crisis, tax evasion, decreased tax volume. Bergia economy plummeting, and Lauren Rust Belt and Agnaland. So these three are provinces which are specifically badly hit, whereas this is all just applicable to the country as a whole. Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, we are not really producing much.
No, we are not. So that's I mean, that already counts as sort of not completely negative, right? So it's just stagnant for now. It's not nose dropping, but then again, it's not great. So yeah, just economic situation in particular is pretty bad. And what I do think is interesting, the weak transportation link. That is something that I think we can probably address quite easily. The other ones we'll need to see a little bit. Just to point out these three provinces. So that's Bergia, Lorraine, and Agnaland. So Agnaland is up over here next to Agnolia, and there are quite a couple of ethnic minorities in this country, but that's sort of the hinterland. Then we've got Bergia, which is next to Velen. If you remember well, in the introduction we saw there was a civil war in Velen, and this is sort of the border region, where again there are a couple of ethnic minorities that are sort of living here in both countries, and they're not the majority in either country. So they're a little bit like the Kurds, maybe in Iran, Iraq, that sort of thing. And then the last one was Lorraine. Yeah, I don't know too much about that one yet. So that's in terms of the economy, law, court backlog. So our judicial system is not great. Limited women's rights. We've got the Bludish problem. That's the ethnic minorities here in Bergia. Some judicial rivalry, so between the Supreme Court and the Ministry of Justice. So some internal struggle. Some human rights, that's good, I guess. We've got the military situation, outdated equipment. Military is trying to interfere in politics. Not that great either. The rest, I think, is more or less okay. Welfare, just generally not looking good, I think. So education is poor. We've got a socialist education, so of that previous president, he's pretty much a personality cult, so not great. Order, corruption, immigration order. It's just not good.
Yeah.
And lastly, diplomacy. So we've got Rumberg expansionist. We don't have any allies. The other stuff is good. So Rumberg is that sort of big country here to the north, and they are making military noises towards us. So that's not necessarily good. Especially if you remember, our military is kind of outdated.
So in the last episode, we decided that the first issue that we want to address is sort of the whole topic of law and order. And as we saw, there are quite a few issues there.
Yeah.
So how are we going to go about that?
So how we're going to go about that is we can't quite decide what we're going to address first, but we will address a couple of issues now as they're being brought to our attention by basically our strategist, and we'll need to make decisions on that, but we'll need to keep in mind that we promised at least to do that, right?
Okay.
So generally how that game works is there are different locations, and if there's a little thing like this, then there's a report at that location. So for example, we can read here a report on the port of
Lahaven.
Lahaven, and it's in general decline. So just not a good thing. It's one of our most important cities. I think we studied here in our previous episode, but yeah, generally not good news from there. From over here, you will see that
Also a port.
yeah, it's
and
port.
lack of advancement. That was one of the major issues of that area.
In particular,
yes,
Egeland.
I don't know.
We've got low production there, so just generally the reports that we're receiving from our country here are great, aren't they? And we've got a couple of people here, probably just foreign powers congratulating us. I don't think we need to be too concerned about that.
So,
but the important bit is this one over here, the exclamation
capital.
mark.
Isn't
Right.
it?
Yeah, it is. That's Holzborg, where we are right now. Couple of reports. Logistical issues. So again, that theme of lacking investments in infrastructure. We've got general staff gathers. So that's just more or less informing us that the armed forces are coming around. And we've got Valkeen. He's the chief of staff.
The armed forces.
Yes. He looks lovely, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Delightful character.
Highly decorated.
Right, and these are now the ones that are actually the decisions here. So we can hear the briefing on the current political situation or on the national economic situation.
Let's go for the political first.
Oh, sorry.
Or not.
Sorry, I thought it was so obvious that we're going from the economy here. So the way it works is we've got these three people in attendance. There's Simon Hole, our Minister of Economy, Gus Munger, Minister of Rural Development, and Liz Graf. And all of them are here.
Who's she?
She's the Minister of Interior. Right, and they all have very different personalities, as we are about to see, I think. So we're just meeting in the palace. Two assistants carrying a heavy projector.
Yes.
Yada yada. Here's Lillian. Lilius. Patient, almost motherly tone she often took in heated arguments.
Condescending.
Yes, she's. I mean,
Gus, do you really think that such an economically advanced area is more in need of investment than England?
Yes, so she's a proponent here of that sort of rural hinterland, and I think as a personality, she is kind of conservative, sort of leaning on the rural basis, that sort of thing. Lilius, my Interior Minister, strode in. She was clad in shades of brown and beige, the only spot of colour a bright yellow Nurist star on her necklace. Gus followed close behind.
Everybody's wearing brown. Gus, Manga, don't be an idiot. Lilias, what about the unemployment crisis the greater wholesale and Gasland regions are going through? These areas are our economic heartland.
Yep, so that's sort of the area here with our capital.
Where we are right
and
now.
That is
and neighboring.
Just the adjacent one, sort of this brownish one.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it yet.
Yeah, but we can see sort of the game gently introduces us towards the concept of this being sort of the economic heartland, especially this corridor here between Lahaven and Holzford, whereas the other ones are a little bit more the rural backland.
So he's got a bit of a temper,
yes.
And apparently also was already around in the Alfonso administration, who was the president before us.
Exactly, the not so successful president, we should say, but yeah, let's see. So he's got far-reaching networks. That's good to hear.
So enter the third character, Simon Hall. Who's he? Politician and businessman. He is Minister of Economy.
And I think he looks pretty much exactly like us.
Yeah, yeah.
as far as we got with the character creator, anyway. So he's, I think, a little bit more of a nerdy character and slightly more, economic spaces. So let's say good morning, everyone. How are you? Simon is motivated. That's good to hear. So let's see what the discussion is about. Let's get right into it.
About the infrastructure plans. Yes, important issue. he would like to talk about, and then goes Simon. We will get there, Gus.
No rush. No,
What did
I
he want?
wanted to hear it actually, but okay.
He wants to start off with a presentation. No, I'm interested in what Gus has to say.
Of course.
I have some very good construction companies. Government contracts in the Greater Holsford and Gelsland.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
so he just wants to hand government contracts directly to some companies.
Yeah, he's bringing already up the companies, and you can see there's sort of a
like
tension.
a bit of a. Does your brother run it, or what's happening
Oh
here?
yes, we'll get to these points. But interestingly enough, I mean, he's the Minister of Rural Development, and he seems to be promoting the economic heartland, which I do think is kind of interesting. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
he has.
But he does say in the next line, this would boost the
Yes.
rural economy. It's like, how? Because it's not the rural area.
But you know, maybe you know there's a trickle down effect. But maybe also keep in mind he's the most well connected person probably in our cabinet. So
Yeah.
I don't know about these companies. You know.
I would go for no need to rush this.
Yeah, let's hear it out. So Simon is coming back to us.
Yeah.
Da-da-dum.
So interrupted by groan.
Oh yeah, that was the introduction. So there were the two assistants carrying the heavy projector. They were standing around the entire
And it's
time.
still like carrying the heavy projector.
Okay. Oh, below we've still got a president, a picture of of Tarquin Sol, the very long time president / almost dictator, strongman who's been around.
Who has not been the ruler for.
No, not the last
4
time.
years.
That was Alfonso.
Yes.
But I still think the country as a whole is still very much rooted in how he built it up.
Yeah.
No, we'll just wait. We'll not yawn.
No.
Simon is fiddling around a little bit.
Lilias. Simon, what happened to the new police station construction in Esterd?
I do like how you put it, yeah. Well, going through his briefcase, he paused for a moment. It got stalled due to government property boundary issue. I've been meaning to look at it.
I can take a look at that one. Esterd needs all the security help it can get. Can you click on it? Like, where is it?
Astor. City of Astor. Yes, well, it does link itself. Founded.
Blah, blah.
Da-da-dum, large petroleum industry.
It's
Rumberg.
old. It's got oil. We don't know where
Which
it is.
region is it in, though? Well, we can go to location. Well, it's up over here, towards the border. Right. And Simon, Simon is actually happy
stopped fiddling.
because if she takes a look at it, he can spend more time on the numbers. So he is kind of a nerdy guy.
Yes.
Right. Central bank, recession of 51. Yes. That's it's the recession that started in 51. It's still ongoing.
We are now in 53, right?
I don't quite know. There's no indication for where we are exactly. There might be on the news page actually, but we'll see.
I think we are.
Right. Let's hear about the debt and to GDP. GDP 310, 427. That's a bad ratio. So as an economist, anything above 120% is sort of kind of bad. That seems to be like at 140, 150% ish. So pretty high debt. And we lost a lot of wealth in the past 3 years. Unemployment then and inflation?
Has skyrocketed at 16%, inflation at 7%. Wow.
Pretty bad then. Pretty bad.
Unemployment, increasing crime, drug. We need to get people off the street.
So recession?
-6%. The average GDP has dropped from what's that?
Swordish rupee, I think.
Yeah.
Something monetary
It's
unit. It has dropped, and it has dropped by around a third or so. So not great. Yes. Let's move on and let's see what we've got. Sculling around, alarming.
The extensive
Happily-
privatization program of Alfonso left us a large budget surplus, which we can use to stabilize the crisis. What did he?
Large means 3.
Yeah. I wonder what he privatized.
A couple of things, but not fully privatized. So it's still a little bit sort of in the edge, and I think we'll go on a general market economy trend. But let's see. Primary subject we need to settle on is what general path we will take in our terms. Solonomics So after Sol.
Solonomics-based nationalism.
Yes.
Nice. Was in the 30s, and Alphonse's privatization began during the end of the 40s. So we are the next decade, and what will our focus be?
Exactly. So Simon is with us on the free market economy, and he reminds us that we have made a promise to that effect.
I still do not support it. Why promote the private sector when we have qualified state-owned enterprises?
I do like her character because she's like a
Given her
conservative.
voice, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
that too. No, but she's that kind of conservative, but still very much she likes things to be under state control. So she's actually not for the private market, whereas Simon is. Gus, of course, is very much in favor of free market because he was brought in by Alfonso, so that does make sense. I don't actually think we have to discuss the benefits of this, so...
Humanity in the 20th century is thriving because of the rule of supply and demand.
Let's tend towards the market.
Very general statement, but yes. But I wouldn't go for the more the economy we control.
No,
so
definitely.
No. Look at how quickly Lesbia and Arcadia.
So Lesbia is the country to our south. It's sort of a capitalist country, very loosely based on something like a smaller type of US, and this is the Republic of Acacia. This is pretty much the United States for all I can figure. So basically both of them capitalist countries.
So she's sort of right about saying we can't really compete without production.
Yeah, but you can always compete in something as an economist, right? You always have some at least relative advantage somewhere. But we'll see. So I'm going to click a little bit ahead of here. They're just quarreling among themselves. We're just more or less listening to that or not. And then we've got the other country. I wonder what that might be based on. This is more of a socialist republic. USSR. So we must be very cautious, and I agree to that. We probably don't want to be too aggressive in either way. But the question is, where do we align ourselves? Do we not align to anyone? Do we promise to not let the Americans in? Do we think that aligning ourselves with the quote-unquote Americans will boost our economy? I would lean towards this one, because I do think we need some outside investment. And I think they do have the money. I notice we are becoming a little bit captive towards them, but
I don't like that actually. I'm thinking a bit more the second one, but I guess we do need some support, and we have to make a choice in one or the other direction.
Yeah. Remember, we also, on the foreign policy side, we have one country that's actively trying to probably invade us, and our military isn't that great either. So, I mean, but I can go with the second one. We don't want them to completely take over.
Yeah, let's go for that.
Right. Notice she's the one that is very skeptical towards that. Control partnership, yes.
Yeah.
Right decision. We'll see.
She's still not.
She's not on board. She's going to be a delight as far as I can tell. But let's see.
So.
Foreign policy decisions do come up as well. No. Yeah. Oh, I would tend to go for this one. We don't have to go overboard with it, but I do want to push the country at least into that direction. And of course, they are just quarreling. Yes, obviously the Americans would like that. Long-term economic schedule.
We have to just ask all these questions. We can decide what order.
Let's move on then.
Yes.
So, final thoughts. I think we should at least... I do not want state control. I don't want full state control. So I'm leaning between these two.
I don't think it's true that a market economy doesn't require as much guidance. I think it does require guidance.
No, I think that's exactly what it does. I think it needs guidance, but then it can deliver within that guidance sometimes a little bit better.
Yeah, but the way it is put,
You know
I
what?
don't agree with it.
Let's take this one then. Exactly my mentality. Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
No, at this point, just make a complete flip flop, and Lilias looks displeased. Oh. So, that's good. Upcoming investment plan. And that's the first meeting here where we made the first decision. And this is how kind of all of these decisions are made. Let's briefly take a look here. Infrastructure. Yes, not going well. Rail capacity in particular is sort of struggling. Oh, at least some good news here. Some agricultural growth in the region of Bergia.
Seems like the south is the agriculture region.
Yes.
Collapse of the tourism industry.
In Lenkberg.
Yeah. Well.
We are going to get a lot of these delightful messages.
What about that port?
Which one?
This one, yes.
Yeah, that's the next meeting here. Investment in infrastructure.
Okay. 2 bold plans for mega infrastructure projects.
I think we should go with them. I think we've heard very consistently that infrastructure seems to be a problem sort of everywhere across the country and in various regions. So I think that might be one of the stimulus packages that we could provide here for the economy.
Yeah, it's sort of also a connecting point towards that northern rural area.
Potentially.
Might be, and it's also the port, so...
Let's go for it. It's going to cost us 1 of our budget, so we don't have...
But we've got 3, so no worries there.
Yeah, we have a couple of other issues as well.
So 2 more episodes to come, apparently.
Right, let's talk about the infrastructure project then. So, Blue Medicine, this time we're meeting in Lochhaven. Enjoying the luxurious medicine.
That's always those 3.
It's not always these 3, but on economic questions, it tends to be these 3. So, yeah, we're meeting again here. Boosting economy. Yes. What can we focus on then? Businesses.
Slow logistic rail network between Holsard and Lochhaven.
So that's again
capital and port.
Exactly.
Well,
so the main corridor sort of.
Yeah. Now Lilia steps in. On the other hand, citizens are criticizing the lack of a proper highway connection between Lochhaven and Arvory. Narrow roads by the seaside are not only dangerous but also difficult to traverse.
Right. So
where's Arvory?
Can we have that? Yeah, we can. That's up there.
North.
So that's sort of, you can see this is a highway, the red one, and they don't really have any connection going up there.
Yeah.
And the other proposal is this rail line here, which we did just hear was in need of investment here at Gelsort.
Yeah, I think. I do agree that the road needs to be fixed or improved, but I think the rails are more important.
I think just doubling down on our strength does probably give us a little bit more of a short-term boost, and I think a short-term boost is what we need. So we should probably improve the economy, show that everything is done. So we've got the H3 highway or the L1 high-speed railway. Only one project at a time.
I want the rail.
I think I want the rail too. Alfonso has failed in delivering this campaign. Current trains do not meet the standards of the time. And we're looking for, this is a high-speed rail train, and it's just generally just electric engine technology instead of just diesel trains or coal even, I don't know.
Yes. United Continental.
Ooh, so the Soviets seem to be a little bit ahead here.
Newest trains, high speed.
Yeah, I think so. So Gus is aligned. Simon is happy with that. Yes, we understand the map. Thank you.
But what's her name? Lilias doesn't get a say.
Lilias will probably just jump in and say, no, I don't like it.
Yeah, okay.
Significantly boost the economy. That's great. I think it would benefit everyone.
for wealthy and middle-class citizens of these regions, but not for the poor dears who wouldn't be able to afford the increased ticket prices.
The poor dears. Well, I do like that she's at least consistently, the
And
spokesperson
of
for
course,
the,
she's got a point, but
Yeah,
we
she
can't
does.
improve the lives of the poor dears
without having
without
with a
having-
collapsing economy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I think that is a
So
bigger
we
problem.
can hear about the other project, but again, it's just going to be a highway running down there, and of course, it's going to be helpful. The one thing it might be helpful for it might also boost long-term trade with Agnolia itself. So if we do have a better connection running north, it might be helpful. But honestly, I don't think so.
Okay,
Right?
yeah,
we
I
are going
think
for
we're
the
set
rail.
on this.
Yeah.
So
Great. So what is our final decision going to be?
L1 high-speed rail.
Here we go. Rail is fun,
Green.
isn't it? The right choice. Negotiations
So-
will begin,
Yeah.
and we will need to pick a corporation. 2 years, that might be fun. Okay. Anything else?
This
That
should be all.
See you soon.
Evening settled on the beautiful coastline.
Yeah, it's
What a
lovely.
nice
I mean,
finish.
it's a lovely. These are very distinct cities. So there we go. That's the first decision made here. We are going to build a rail line here. You can see there's a little project that does
Let's
indicate
hope that is something that will influence our budget
in a positive.
in a positive
Oh.
way. Not only right now it does influence our budget, but in a positive way long term. Not or medium term.
One report here. Increasing unemployment. Yes. Yeah, I do think we need a very short-term boost. By the way, we cancelled the news here, so I don't think there's any date in there, right? And that's just generally that various different newspapers here. There's I think it's a general one. There's Sordland Today. I can't quite tell these apart, but these seem to be quite kind of neutral in what they are reporting here. Reporting on our wind, nothing too big so far. Freezing temperatures, nothing really important either. And we've got the radical, the voice of the unheard.
I think that is not neutral.
That is not neutral.
Nationalist, vilest, another USP president.
That's a lovely way to
welcome us. We're not gonna be friends, I think.
And then we've got the Economist, which, as you would think, is sort of pioneering free market things, and that's good. But and it's also pointing us towards the infrastructure, by the way, and asking us to end the Soldonomics. But they're not completely neutral either. They are vested interests. They are very much in this National Business Council and the very influential people here that are going to try to push us in various different directions. But I think that's a good point to put in a cut. So that's the first decision here, a railway.
So let's hope next time we've got a brand new railway up and running.
Economy. We are promoting this now. So,
I don't know
decision.
what are the time periods? Because I said it's gonna take 2 years to finish, so we've got a 4-year term, don't we?
I think 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Okay.
So it might boost it. Maybe the construction itself is going to boost. I think it's sending the right signal, but of course it did just cost us a third of our budgets as well. And
let's see.
There are going to be a lot more tough decisions up in the coming weeks. So, that being said, thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like and all of that, and I hope to see you around next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.